Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Gardening on Coffee, where we're trying to turn our quaint backyard garden into a tropical paradise. We're trying to do that with some exotic and rare varieties of Heliconias and also some orange ginger Heidi plums. We'll give you a look and show you what it looks like right now. And we'll tell you about the plans for the future, which is our marginatas over here, our hanging lobster claws, rostradas, which will be in the center, and then some bicolor bahayas also scattered throughout, just to give it some color. We'll go ahead and give you a garden checkup on what we've got growing. It's been about a week since we received our Shogun Jade, which we were very excited to get. He started to show growth, and we're really happy to show you that. So let's show you where the garden is right now and what progress we've been able to make. So what we have is our first four these are our standing lobster claws. That's your 10-day flower. Those are your rostradas, and those are going to be, these are the pink and yellow, and those are going to be in the center. They all appear to be doing very well, except for this guy is kind of struggling a little bit. He's just can't decide which stalk he wants to grow from, but we'll be excited when he finally makes up his mind. But everything looks good, and we're definitely excited about the new growth. They're definitely getting taller, as you can see, and we can't wait in a couple months to be able to put them in the ground. And then up next is our Caribbean Red. He's doing very good. He's working on his second full leaf from the top, and also working on some leaves around the corner, as you can see as well. So he's doing good, and we're really excited about his progress. The bad news that we have for this week is these are our marginatas. These were the four that we had. Two are doing extremely well. As you can see, they just continue to get taller, and we're looking forward to planting those as well. And then these two, I had to check our invoices to find out exactly when we purchased them, and they were purchased about 6 weeks ago. So I went ahead and dug them up to see if they were live or not. One of the ways that you can check them, they say, is to go ahead and squeeze the bottom of the rhizome, and if it is hard, then that's supposed to tell you that it is a viable rhizome. We'll go ahead and show you that these are not viable rhizomes anymore. They don't have any new growth, and we'll give you a look at what that looks like. So as you can see, they're rotted all the way to the bottom. This one as well. We have gotten, and there is no eyes. We left this, and this is pretty much the way we received it. There was no eyes, which was kind of strange when we did receive it. And I remember it not having an eye and that it being strange, but of course we were hoping for the best. And this particular seller, we have received the best plants from, and we have also received the worst. So he's kind of about 50-50 now. We'll give him one more shot, and we'll see. So anyway, you should always have an eye coming off the bottom, and then there should always be some kind of growth, is what you're looking for. And then also, just because the rhizome top is maybe deteriorated like this doesn't mean that there's not growth underneath. So always be careful. You really don't want to dig them up until probably almost 6 or 7 weeks, just to make sure you're not killing a viable rhizome, because sometimes it does take up to 6 to 7 weeks before we see anything, but really between 4 and 6 is what we're looking at. These are our standing lobster claws. These are going to be the red and black ones. They're both doing well. The leaves show a little bit of damage, but they're still growing, so any growth is positive growth. So these again are our standing lobster claws, and those will be black and red. And these are our gingers. All 5 gingers have just kept growing. We're excited to see that nothing died, so we're really happy with them. Just can't wait to see them bloom and flower, so be able to plant them. We've got our jaquinis in the back, which is right there, both doing very, very well. Working on its 3rd limb, and it's getting very, very thick. So we are happy to see the progress over there. And as well as the plant that we transplanted last week, which was one of our palaus, our macaw flowers. We transplanted it by the side of the garage to its final location. Let me show you where that's at. And that's right here. He's went ahead and he's already started on his next leaf. And one thing that we wanted to make sure we remind you about is just when we go to transplant anything, your plant will go into shock for about a week. So you want to make sure that when you transplant it, that you do get all the air out of the root system. Also make sure it's watered, it's moist but not over wet, and then just know that it will go into shock, and we need to be careful with it for about a week or two until it acclimates itself to its new position. Then also you'll notice we put it probably about 2.5 feet from the house. Normally you'll want to keep any vegetation at least 18 inches from the house, and that's just so your house will be able to breathe. You won't get mold, mildew, water inside the house. So just make sure when we do transplant anything that you do dig up as much of the root ball as possible, just so we don't cause any undue shock, unnecessary shock to the plant. It is really worth the time and effort to dig up as much of the root ball as possible, just so the plant doesn't suffer the shock. And again, we've moved a couple things around from the back, and it was because over on the side of the house we realized that we were getting a lot more productive growth over by our AC unit, and it's a little bit shadier of a location, and then also it does provide a lot of airflow because it's right next to the AC unit. So any plants that we're worried about, we went ahead and transplanted here, and the plants that we are a little bit concerned about is some of the ones that we received from Hawaii. And a good thing to do when you receive your rhizomes is to go ahead and take pictures of them, just so you'll know for yourself, be able to document the growth and be able to see it firsthand. And then something that we had noticed when we got our plants in from Hawaii, the last vendor, he had shipped them in shredded paper, and it seemed a little odd, but the biggest thing that we were having a little bit of a challenge with is that he didn't wrap them in plastic, and he didn't also put them in wet paper towels, which normally helps keep the rhizome viable, keeps it saturated with water, not overly moist, and will allow it to continue to grow. So when we got those, they were a little bit dry, and we are a little bit concerned about those just because the top is starting to show some deterioration. So we're making sure that we try to keep these rhizomes as dry as possible, but also keep them in a moist location so they'll be able to grow for us. So that's why we've transplanted all of our Prince of Darknesses and the Black Magic to the side, and then also our Valegra root beer. So let me show you what that looks like. This is our root beer here, and this is our Valegra root beer, and he is the red and brown and it'll be a hairy red flower, also a hanging pendulum as well. And this is our Shogun over here. This will be a yellow hanging pendant, hairy flower, and it should be anywhere between 10 and 20 feet. And going back to our pictures, this was just a cut end when we received it, so it has actually grown probably almost 4 inches since we did receive it. So, and we know that it had an eye coming out of here, so we'll be expecting to see that soon, within the next few weeks. These are our Black Magics. They just continue to get bigger and darker. We're really excited to see the growth for them, because these will be our maroon violet darker flowers, and then our Prince of Darknesses are in the back, and they're continuing to grow as well. And so all of these again are here because we're worried about how quick this rot, the dryness started, because most of our rhizomes don't start to do this until a few weeks, and these actually started to go even as far deep as this within about 2 weeks. So and again, I think that was because he didn't wrap them with moist paper towel at the bottom, and then also didn't wrap them with plastic at the bases. And again, that just keeps them more viable, and it keeps them growing while they are shipped. So I don't think we'll be ordering from that seller again. but it's a good learning lesson, and we didn't have anything extremely rare or exotic coming from him, so that's always good news. Let me show you what we've got in the front, which is, these are the ones that we moved from the AC unit. These are the ones that we got from Hawaii. These are the tricolor Orthotricha rhizomes, and in the back are the Kid Pink Lives from Puerto Rico. And again, these are all the same, should all be the same variety. They're just called different in different parts of the country or according to that seller. So they've all had really positive growth, and we're all really excited to see that. These are our granatas. So these are the 4 granatas that we've got. He started to open up his second leaf. He's just pushing out his second, and everything's continuing to grow very well, so we're happy. This is our Jaquini. This is our bicolor Bahia also, that we'll transplant as soon as it gets a little bit thicker. Our Sassy Pink miniatures have not yet started to show any signs of life. We're starting to get a little bit concerned, but again, it hasn't been 6 weeks, so we'll just continue to monitor it. And this is our Jaquini, our bicolor, that we transplanted before we put it around back. So again, it'll be a while before it's strong enough to go in back, and we want to make sure that we survive the winter before we transplant anything. These are our St. Rose Orthotrichas. This is the growth that we were looking for last week, and now it's started to show, and it's continuing to grow, working on his second flower. And this is our macaw flower from last week. As soon as he gets strong enough, we'll transplant him around back next to the other one that we just moved over by the garage. So we're excited. He just started to show his first full leaf yesterday. We're really excited about that growth. And then these are our Andromedas, our miniatures as well, and still hoping for our first growth out of those. And again, we'll check the invoices in about 6 or 7 weeks and see where we are. So the last thing we have is our last path, which is over here, and this is our miniature, and he just continues to do well and grow. So we're really happy about that. And last week I told you we would talk about where we're going to put the Caribia, our Prince of Darkness, and our Black Magic, and adding some different textures to the yard. So in our front landscape planter, we've got the red landscape pavers here, which adds a little beef, and it adds a nice color to the front of the house. Also, as we move around the side, we've used a thinner paver, and those are a gray style, and those are in this planter here. And we've also used those around back by our silver Bismarck with our tree grate. So in this area of the yard is towards the back of our property. We're trying to give it a little bit more of a not as inviting feel as the rest of the property, where we'll have really wonderful varieties that'll really capture your imagination. We wanted to give this a beautiful feel, but also some place where you don't want to hang out, you just want to keep going, because this is the back of our property, so we really didn't want people gathering here. And what we're going to do is we'll put another planter right about in this area. We're going to use the same red brick that we've got from our front planter, and that's where our Black Magics and the Prince of Darkness will be for our maroon, darker colored plants. That'll really add an interesting touch to the property, but also create something where people don't want to gather. So that's really what we're looking for in that area. So with our Shogun Jade, we were excited to see all of the growth that we got out of that, and that it hasn't dried back any further. We should be receiving another plant from Puerto Rico anytime now, so we'll be really excited when we receive that, and can't wait to tell you and show you that rhizome when we get it. And then also we'll be reordering 2 of those Marginatas, which should be on the way anytime. So we can't wait to receive those, and can't wait to have you back next time and show you all the growth that we've been able to accomplish, where we're going, and where we've been. So until next time, may your coffee be strong and your cups stay full. Thanks.